I want to read you a couple headlines from NCPR's Adirondack Rail-Trail coverage from back in the day. 2013, Adirondack Scenic Railroad locomotive vandalized. 2015, did backroom politics and, quote, filthy money shape Adirondack Rail-Trail plan? The answer to that last one is no, by the way. But you get the point. The debate over tearing up the tracks between Old Forge and Lake Placid was vicious and long. It ended in compromise. And thus, on Friday, a brand new rail trail between Saranac Lake and Lake Placid is finally open. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Pearsall Wealth Management at UBS Wealth Management USA, subsidiary UBS AG, member FINRA SIPC, 1 Broad Street, Glens Falls.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, December 4th. First up, another upstate New York college is closing its doors. The College of St. Rose in Albany confirmed Friday it'll close next spring. Trustees said the college has an $11 million deficit and doesn't have enough cash to operate next year. In an event closed to the press Friday, college president Marcia White told members of the campus community she's, quote, heartbroken for the loss of the 103-year-old college. She spoke with reporters soon after.
Unfortunately, at this point, there was not a partnership that was able to allow us to either merge or affiliate at this point so that we could continue on.
The college blamed declining enrollment in the COVID-19 pandemic for its financial woes. It says it'll help students with a teach-out plan and work with faculty and staff who'll lose their jobs. Medaille University in Buffalo and Cazenovia College near Syracuse also closed this year. Many North Country colleges are nowhere near closing, but they are struggling financially, including Clarkson and St. Lawrence universities. SUNY Potsdam is shedding 9 degree programs to cut a $9 million annual deficit. A dispute between Ogdensburg and its firefighters cost the city almost $100,000 in lawyers' fees. That's according to the Watertown Daily Times. The conflict started in December of 2020 when the Ogdensburg City Council passed a new budget cutting 7 fire department positions. The firefighters' union said it violated their agreement. The ensuing legal battle lasted nearly 3 years, and it finally ended last October when the city agreed to pay the firefighters more than $500,000 in back pay, including nearly $25,000 in interest. The lengthy dispute included arbitration and multiple appeals, including to the state Supreme Court. Last Friday afternoon, a big crowd of people gathered just off Route 86 between Saranac Lake and Lake Placid at Fowler's Crossing. They were there to celebrate the completion of the first section of the Adirondack Rail-Trail, a 34-mile multi-use trail corridor stretching from Tupper Lake to Lake Placid. It's been the topic of fierce debate for decades in the Tri-Lakes. Amy Feiereisel was at the ribbon cutting.
Over 100 people gathered at Fowler's Crossing, and a lot of them were given scissors.
Don't run with those.
Members of the DEC, the DOT, the OGS, and local municipal leaders got behind a long ribbon stretching across the 10-foot-wide crushed rock Adirondack Rail-Trail. Behind them were the mountains, peeking in and out of the clouds.
1, 2, 3.
They were all here to celebrate the completion of the first section of the trail, about a 10-mile stretch between Saranac Lake and Lake Placid. It's now officially open year-round to hikers, bikers, skiers, and snowmobilers, though from what I heard, it's already gotten its fair bit of use.
I since I'm local, I've been on it a couple of times already. I was on it before the rails were gone.
That's 45-year-old Doug Haney from Saranac Lake. He says the trail will be great for local recreation.
This is going to be such a transformational thing for all of these communities for recreational use.
But also for tourism, which Haney has a personal stake in. He owns Bike Adirondacks, a cycling tourism company.
So this is a huge thing for me to see come to fruition, because being able to have a safe, fun, recreational space to go ride your bike is going to be huge.
Economic opportunity was one of the big themes at the press conference. Here's Commissioner Jeanette Moy from the Office of General Services.
There's going to be a lot of good economic activity that's going to happen in this part of New York where we're really unlocking it through this project.
The other big theme was compromise. New York State Assemblyman Dan Steck talked about moving forward.
And you can't look in the rearview mirror and you can't live in the past. You have to play the hand that you're dealt.
While DEC Commissioner Basil Sago said difficult things are worth the effort.
Thank you for your willingness to compromise and find a path forward. It doesn't happen without some sacrifice amongst all of us.
The not-so-thinly veiled subtext here is the years of fierce debate, protests, even lawsuits over how this railroad trail should be used. Some rallied for a multi-use trail, while others fought to preserve the rail line. In 2016, a compromise was reached, with the trail from Remsen to Tupper Lake preserved as rail line, and the 34-mile stretch from Tupper to Lake Placid dedicated to the Adirondack Rail-Trail. David Winchell of Saranac Lake had a front row seat for all that. He's retired from the DEC and says it took decades to get to this point, and endless work between village, town, county, and state entities, and a lot of setbacks.
We got that finalized, and then we got sued for historic preservation. So we started the process all over.
Winchell organized a lot of the public input meetings about the trail.
I'm really happy to see this conclusion and can't wait. There's a group of us from that have been involved with this all along from both OGS and DEC that plan on, once it's completely open, we're going to ride our bikes from Lake Placid all the way to Tupper Lake and then go to Racket River Brewing, and then we'll have to get a ride home.
There's a lot of talk here today about biking and skiing and snowmobiling. Jim McCulley is the president of the Lake Placid Snowmobile Club.
We now have a trail that is usable much more of the year than it was before. I mean, before if we got 6 weeks out of it, we were lucky.
Now he expects they'll get at least 8 to 10. He's thrilled, except for one thing: the 3-mile paved section of the trail in Saranac Lake, which he says was a total surprise.
I've been here since day one. I sat through lots and lots of stakeholder meetings, and there was never any talk of it. And what happens is when the sun hits on it, it's going to melt. You know, and we've given the DEC several ways to mitigate the problem. Whether they go through with them or not, we don't know.
Nevertheless, McCulley is excited about the progress on what is a uniquely accessible trail in these mountains. Saranac Laker Lindy Ellis says it reminds her of paths in Quebec.
This is an amazing, amazing trail, world class. People with families can use this. Motorized wheelchairs can use this.
What comes next is building out the other 24 miles of the trail between Saranac Lake and Tupper Lake. Officials say the trail will be finished in 2025. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio, on the Adirondack Rail-Trail at Fowler's Landing.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Mark Corey of Watertown and Oscar Sarmiento of Potsdam. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.